amount. So yeah, it's a good job, and I think if you're a FaZe fan, you're gonna obviously, compared to what was happening yesterday, you're gonna be super excited about this. But they don't look themselves. They really don't.
No, this is not the FaZe clan that you think, oh, they're going to be winning this major. They've absolutely dominated throughout this bracket. They're now down in the 1 and 2, and there's like, I don't know, a myriad of mistakes and just weird rounds and uncharacteristic sort of setups and fumbles across the board. But maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I expect too much. They're kind of making sure they get themselves back in the zone, I suppose. They've got the win. I guess that's all that really matters, as we will see Anubis coming up next. But that'll be the pick of Imperial, based on those strangers to that particular map. But I don't know, Imperial didn't necessarily impress me too much either. They had their individual moments, so we know no way it's going to be good for a few rounds for your team. He's so individually skilled, but still an enjoyable game, I suppose. We had some chaotic moments, and they're in the conversation to win the trophy, right? Unfortunately, Imperial are not.
Yeah, I will say this, I mean, again, like, it's not like Imperial haven't been facing a lot of pressure throughout the second stage of the tournament, and they are still alive. Like, they are reinventing themselves, they're keeping the energy. So, I mean, Imperial are kind of doing what FaZe are failing to do at the moment, which is just keep enough fire burning that you can actually get some good rounds, that people get a little bit hyped up. You're getting No Way out there, you're getting Henny activated, like, there's something to fight for.
They just posted 0 rounds in the second half. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, you win both pistols, and that's the performance you put down in your CT half. That was like borderline embarrassing. I don't know what's going on here today. It's Mirage next, and in terms of fragging ability, FaZe have fallen off the edge of a cliff. Like, Imperial might have this one all tied up. Like, they're hitting their shots. Teams.
I'm 99% sure that Carrigan didn't see the bomb planter in that 1 versus 2. I thought he was, you know, optimizing for a kill. I don't think
so
he saw
too.
Him. I think he just straight missed him.
Well, he got the nice 2v1 clutch, and considering the majority of his players had a rough showing today in this series, it's nice to see him find a bit of glory at the end and just get them the hell out of there and into the 2-2 bracket. But things don't get much easier there. Bear in mind, you've got some absolute titans of Counter-Strike in that bracket as well. It's going to be difficult to make it to the playoffs, but they did what they had to do today. Yes. All that really matters is they got the result, and Mappers looked like they were defeated, didn't really have much to respond with, and Imperial really got them quite frustrated. But overall, Mirage pretty clean, and it just broke you with probably the play of the series here on that scout.
Yeah, that changed everything.
Yeah, some beautiful shots and got them right back in it just when things felt like they were slipping away. And this is the final round, and Nowhere got a lovely double spray down. Frozen and Ray working in tandem, but there was Carrigan with that long flank from T-Spawn, managing to close things out. So
check this out. He's
right in front of him. Yeah, he didn't even know. Yeah, you're right. You're dead on.
He didn't know.
He had no idea. It was like camouflaged in. He was just so fun.
That as well was well driven though. It was a perfection coming out from Jame right here, perfection coming out from the players. There were a bit of pacing into it as well. It wasn't as slow and as boring that you sometimes see, but I think that's also speaking into EF as well. We spoke about it. Their aggression was kind of countered in that way. They couldn't really find any footing on the server, any footing on the map, and it did feel like VP had them basically where they wanted them from start to finish in this game. A little bit disappointed by EF, but hell my, that was great play from VP.
Yeah, I can't take anything away from them, right? Like, you know, I know we're memeing about, we're talking about how slow and methodical they are, but that is the counter to what Eternal Fire were trying to throw at them. That's what Eternal Fire were trying to replicate what they did against FaZe yesterday, right? And just getting stymied at every single point. We'll talk about a couple of rounds and talk about how, you know, the individuals are so, how they mesh so well in this James system. But I also want to highlight, you lose both the pistol rounds and you still win 13-6.
Sure.
That is domination.
Be a great back and forth game, a tense game, a close game, but didn't really turn out to be the case. I'm sure you're going to talk about it later, Blur, but Matcha had a couple of magic moments in this game. The in-game leader stepped up, he took charge of the game, and then I cannot underestimate Santaris once more. We've been speaking about him a lot at this very desk. We talked about him having another breakout, I guess, event for him, you know, once again solidifying himself as one of the great riflers out there who's now playing against tier 1 opposition on a almost daily basis, and he's owning them up. He went 107 ADR in this game, 5 for 5 in opening kills, 6 rounds with a multi-kill. He was by far the best performer on the server, and once again the catalyst behind a strong EF performance.
100% agree with you there. You know, going 8 and 4 on the CT side right there, it felt like the win condition had been achieved. And to be real, the couple of rounds which we will talk about, Major winning very crucial clutch moments actually salvaged that CT side from Eternal Fire, or else it could have easily have been an 8-4 for the side of VP. Now when it comes to VP, made VP look flustered. They made VP run out of ideas. And we're talking about Inferno. We prefaced in our game saying VP, they're going to slow it down, they're going to annoy you, they're going to bleed out your utility. And honest to God, the CT side from Eternal Fire from being 0-4 down and the remaining rounds was just a masterclass in CT side economy, and utility management, and of course just outplaying, outreading. And once they got to the T side, once they won the pistol, you just knew it was going to happen. You know, it felt inevitable for Eternal Fire. And man, dude, listen, just listening to Major immediately sobbing from joy.
Oh, yeah.
That's something special.
Well, I mean, also as well, we talked about it, you know, the leadership performance, the amount of emotional labor he has to put into this team.
Sure.
Because, you know, you've got tilters, you've got star players, you've got people who are big personalities, might want to get involved with the calls themselves. You know, and it's like Snappy said, it's 80% off the server being an IGL. So much relief, I imagine, from him more than anything. And he's going to have some time tonight to really let it soak in what he's achieved.
Foxy yelling at you, screaming at you, telling you that you're easy to anti-strat. It's all, you know, it's a mixture of warfare. Psychological being the most brutal from the captain at G2.
And the game started good for ECSTATIC. They had some nice clutch up rounds. Like, look at some of these retakes on CT side. It looked like they were here to compete with G2, but that, you know, other than the pistols that they convert pretty comfortably, or the second pistol, there wasn't really a lot in that game for ECSTATIC. That really hurts. This was the round that sent them, as they played a little too early on that A retake in a 1v3 versus m0NESY, and man, he was not missing in this game.
No, not by a long margin, and you know, that's very reassuring to see. You know, you feel like for ECSTATIC now, the ultimate test, right, is already, a lot of folks didn't really expect them to have left such an impression on the major. They come into this as underdogs. They end up fielding an L to G2 after what looked like a pretty promising start, even getting off to a nice start in the second half, trying to build back in, but so swiftly silenced that now you have to question the longevity, right? Can they go away in between these games, have that team talk and bring themselves back into the fold, or is this one already too far gone? I mean, like...
Questions, where are these stars of this show for G2? Where is NiKo? He's gone missing. m0NESY can't win this game on his own.
This was, to me, just a game of mentality, a game of the mental side of Counter-Strike, the game within the game, and you could tell at 8-1, G2 were playing fast and loose, and they felt like it was over. They felt like they'd done enough. They were taking every fight. They knew they were in ECSTATIC's head, but all it took was that one round that Queenix helped put on the board with his flank up through mid. All it took was this one round right here, and that a spark that they had to go on to nurture throughout the rest of the map, but they did so successfully. They picked up that pistol in the second half. They didn't fret when they lost in that, you know, anti-force buy. They didn't let that break them down. And so the resilience was there for ECSTATIC, and where there was once this lack of faith, this lack of trust, the idea that the game was already away from them, that got replaced with an overwhelming belief that they were about to embark on one of the greatest clutches these players have ever been a part of, and they stuck the landing of that now. And so as we look to the future of this series, suddenly it's all eyes on G2, because they are going to be crushed that this one ever got away from them.
Yeah, you have to question their mental capability and their ability to...
ECSTATIC were picking up a handful of rounds, starting to build back into it, that really shone for the G2 squad.
Truly a one-man army at times. I mean, he wins every single clutch of this series for G2. He puts on so many 4Ks. He's the reason Inferno was as dominant as it was, you know, winning these crucial breaking rounds for ECSTATIC, and he comes through just as confidently when ECSTATIC are 4-0 up at the start of this third map. m0NESY's 13-2, brings a huge 10-round streak for G2, and even though ECSTATIC show us a glimmer of hope at the end of the game, m0NESY puts out that light. I mean, the question for G2 is who the hell are they going to play tomorrow, and are they up for the task, really, when they're getting taken this far by underdogs such as ECSTATIC? But if I know one thing, it's m0NESY's ready.
Yeah, he certainly believes that they've got what it takes to get to playoffs, and when he's believing, over time, it feels like that gets the rest of G2 believing. You're going to need him to step up in a similar fashion, and whatever that next game is, That's the one worry, I think, for G2. You have this one player who you just can't afford to have go quiet. So the pressure will never go away from Honesty, but it seems like he's thriving under that right now. Let's talk a little bit about ECSTATIC, because I think they very much earned it here. A great run through the opening stage. The teams they've lost to throughout this major are so legitimate. Like, they had the close game to